Today is just going to be a little chat about angels, the Shem Angels and Archangels, and a little bit of the difference in nature between demons and angels. And there's been a lot of question about the Shem Angels and the degrees, and it's based on the Babylonian 360-degree circle. So they have 360 days. And if you look at the astrological natal chart, you will see that that is also a 360. So there is that problem with that we are 5 days lost in the 365 days cycle. So that often is that if you're born on the cusp between two signs, you might have to try to connect to two angels there and see which one calls you the most to find your real one, or you might have one extra there. And the nature of the angels is quite different in the way you connect. Demons are so easily approachable. They learn to act in a human way that we understand how they communicate with us, and they are not so hard to connect to. And most of humanity is connected to demons in whatever way. There are demons everywhere, and if you call upon a demon, you should know that your room is filled with 113 of his minions, and so on. So it's always that. So it's not to scare anyone, it's just like the light and the dark. It's always like that, and that's why many in the old traditions pray a lot. You don't see them, but they are there inspiring us to do different things and accusing false victimhood, all those things they are experts on. And of course materialism, fame, success at any cost. But then we also have the angels that can bring forth it in a different way. They don't give you the power right-handed that you are going to be powerful, but they teach you how to change, to transform, how to be you, not anybody else, just you, and to accept you who you are, flaws and all. And the quicker you learn to always be honest to the angels and to try to act upon their wishes in any way you can, then it becomes natural and it evolves from there. So there is nothing you can do to force angelical connections like you can do in the really dark, and they are summoning all demons and they are so powerful, and and it's all not really like that at all. And you don't enter into pacts with angels. In the history, the archangels have been summoned with blood sacrifices sometimes, especially in the military, when people are desperate, that they offered some blood of their own to call upon an angel to really scream for that help. And then there is that which angels are meant for you. You should always trust your gut instinct first, or if you have been approached. But otherwise, with the Shem Angels, I take the Sun, Moon and Rising Sun sign and look at the degrees. A degree in Leo is the first day of when Leo starts, and 6 days of Taurus is the 6th day when after Taurus began, Taurus season, and that's a good way to start. And of course it is your birthday angel, I call them like that. Vevalia is mine. So I'm born on the 27th October, so Vevalia rules 5 days, and 27th is one of them in Scorpio. And then Nememia is my rising sun sign in Capricorn, and Casiel is my moon, in my dark moon in Taurus. And in a way you can say that already at birth, I think that I have, or I've been told that I have some traits that are similar to the 3 angels that rule in the Shem. But I've been talking to them, and for so over 40 years, even more. But they, so some aspects of their archetype or personality is within your soul naturally at birth. And many believe that you also have the demon of the same thing. And there's a problem with the demon thing, since I don't work with the 72 demons. I encounter them, that's a different thing, but I don't call upon them and summon them and ask them to do a lot of things for me. So I don't have that sort of connection to them. But there seems to be there are different lists, and they are not always the same. So if you want to work with them, you got to try it out. Sometimes it might be the wrong angel or the wrong demon, and how to interact. And the practice of only working with demons without the angel who guards him, that's something that I don't know anything about, really. My aunt is dead, so you could ask her otherwise. She loved Aleister Crowley, and she acted like him in many ways. So it was a lot of sending demons front and back, and to whatever reason that she wanted to. And then there is the archangels, and that is also your sun, moon, and rising. And in the old grimoire text, it's always the rising that is the most strong in your practice. So in my case, it's Saturn. So I'm very connected to Casiel, especially Casiel. And he has dragons. So he's even depicted in many old paintings riding on a dragon. And then there's the story of that they believe that was it feathered snake in Peru, I can't remember his name, or winged serpent, something like that, that was the real Casiel, since it stopped blood sacrifices and human sacrifices, and there was the sadness and the beauty and those things. And Casiel taught me one of the most important things in my life that I started early on. Since I have the Mars energy, and there's a lot of fire and rage and temper and a total hate for injustice from both Saturn and Mars. So he taught me how to handle the Mars side with sadness. So instead of going out with hate or impulse, you blend it with the sadness, and when you put sadness into it, you get the long term, since sadness is something that is everywhere and you always feel it. At least I do. I can feel the sadness from my neighbors from all over the world when I watch the news. So that is something that is a constant that can keep the fire down so it doesn't become out of control. And demons are so easy to connect to, since they act so human. Not the lesser demons that are like wild beasts, but they are all different, so you should never really, you should treat him as a wild beast, but he might appear like the most beautiful angel, which is often the case. And when it's too good to be true, and when you get a yes very often, you manifest a lot constantly, and that's usually not the angels. So that's when you should start going a little bit deeper into the angelical side, since the angels are truly about teaching you, guiding you, looking after you, wanting you to make the best choices you can and to grow and evolve. Demons want you to evolve and study and work hard as well, but in a different way, since they want you to become a good example who talks about them, who acts in a certain way, and they all have different preferences. And a lot of people don't realize how much demons they have in their life, and when you look at that victimhood thing, false accusations, and all those things, that is traits ruled by the demons, like and mammon, of course, money, power. There is a fair amount of power, but then there is that huge amount of power where people don't have free will anymore. And free will is the one thing that is very important to learn, since if you work with an angel and you are connecting and you start acting upon others' free will, you will get a demon, I guarantee. Angels don't. So if you are trying to force somebody to love you and a specific person, they hear you. You have free will and the angels accept it, so they let you go on, so they don't interfere with that. But then you have the demon that appears like an angel and lets you think that it's alright to force your will upon somebody else. And there is so, and with the holy guardian angel, since many are now trying to connect to him, and there's been a misunderstanding there as well, that once you met your holy guardian angel, that's it, now you're a magician or mystic. And that is the first step in a very long process that I believe goes on from maybe even after death or something like that. But it is fantastical. But as soon as, and there is that peace being at all, being connected to everyone, everything. You don't want to leave and never come back to this reality in a way. But then there is that they are going to guide you towards what you want to do and what you're meant to do. So that means that your purpose comes in focus, and oftentimes the road you take is not the one that you thought of yourself, but instead you are led to and you are asked to do a certain thing or travel to a country in despair or whatever it is, and you just start, and that is a process that goes on. And when you start with calling upon the angels of the Kabbalistic cross or the angels of air, fire, water and earth, and or whatever magical traditions you now use, that there's the search of power and or nothing at all that happens. And but after a few months, usually people start to feel that there is a lot of negativity coming up. And that is part of the process. It doesn't happen to a person or a child that when you're a grown-up it happens, since the more you connect to angels, the more truth you are going to face about yourself, and that stirs up emotion and shadows. So that is a very intense shadow work, and that's something that is a part of working with the angels, and dedication yourself to them. And from my own experiences, the most potent, if we now say, not conjurers. Females are just as good as men, and many times more psychic than men, but when it comes to really putting down and forcing something out, when it's absolutely necessary, it's more like you are giving one option, getting one back, and it's like diplomacy, but it doesn't always work, and that's when it's very good to have a strong man in there with you, at least, or work together. That's the best for the finest results. There is something with that male energy that's really commanding when it gets aggressive, and you should stay calm when you're trying. You are not allowed to be angry if you are trying to force something out and throw things at them, or scream prayers or something like that. It's more like being a state of calm and authority, and that's something you learn throughout the years. And now we got this lawnmower going on outside. But the gifts that you gain from working with the angels, they make every day worthwhile. Since you're learning new things, you're constantly evolving. They help you to heal the pain and the soul wounds. I've been going back to year 6 for when I was 6 years old, and now I think I'm entering to going into the wounds I got as a 3-year-old. So every time I sit down to rest and everything is okay, then there comes some more they want to heal. So that is also part of the progress. So it isn't a quick fix for the outside, it is what is within you that is going to step up. And your life is going to change. Your faith is going to change, your spirituality is going to take a very weird turn sometimes, since suddenly you study one religion and then you study one another, and I love history, so I look at the historical side of spirituality, and mathematics and spirituality, and so that creates philosophy. And it, for me, for others it can be that they are a true healer, so they are going to be working as a healer, and there are so many gifts that come. Others are more humanitarian, as I get angry and want to help anybody who suffers and against any kind of tyranny. And whatever it takes. So that was all for now, I think, but have a magical day. Bye for now, and ask any questions you want. I try to answer them best as I can.